Now, one of the really great things to do if you are there in the wintertime, their wintertime, around December, it is great whale watching, although we were there in July and were able to see some of the whales out. We were on the shore, so we're using, our high-powered cameras to bring in these pictures. But still, we were able to see a whale out in the ocean. If you go to South Africa or Cape Town during the wintertime, you would definitely want to take a whale watching excursion, as that's the time of year that they are there in large numbers. And now we come to my favorite spot to visit in Cape Town, and that is the beach where the penguins are.
We're coming to you from the southern tip of South Africa, one of the furthest points down. This is a penguin colony. These are called African penguins. They're small baby penguins that have a fur around them. They're kind of a brownish gray. And then the adults go to more of a gray. And then you've got, when they get older, they have the stripes and they have the more of the black and white look. They're a smaller penguin than what you're used to seeing, but awful lot of fun. We just got to watch some surfing in the water. It was way cool. Good place to come. Come see the penguins in South Africa. Okay, let's go.
Boulder Beach is the home to a whole colony of penguins. I didn't know that penguins didn't have to have snow. I thought the only place you'd see them is in Arctic areas where there was lots of snow and ice. But these penguins are land penguins, and they live in this colony.
Little couple, cute couple of penguins together. Where are you going, huh? Where are you headed, huh? Decisions. Okay. They've made a place here for the penguins to have houses so they can have babies, which are really cool. Humans helping nature. This little guy's gonna go hide, walking back up to where he sleeps. Goes.
I thought that they were just so fun. I could have spent a whole day there watching them waddle along. We saw brand new babies that had the penguins are really fun to watch. One of the things that I learned about penguins is that when they have the babies, when the babies are tiny, they have this it's like fuzzy little feathers. They're not waterproof yet, and so they can't go into the water. So during the day, the babies, after about 30 days, they come out and they go into groups. They're like, have a babysitting group, and some of the parents will stand around and guard them, and the babies all just stay in one little area, and the parents guard them while the others go out and get food. They feed those babies until they're about not quite 2 years old. And then they finally molt and they get these new feathers, which are waterproof, and then they too can go out in the water. African penguins are an endangered species. So this area, they are trying to get them to repopulate. They made these little, because usually when they go to lay eggs, they will do them in the sand. They'll do them under bushes.
Yeah. Here's a baby penguin. He's just coming out of his little sleeping place that they have made here for penguins. You can see he's still gray and has his fur. So he's very young. A little bitch. Way cute. It seems a little bit of an odd terrain for what you'd think for penguins, but that's okay. That's how they live here. Oh, stretching.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Here's another one. There he comes.
Anything they can find to protect those eggs. They have built little colonies, these little buildings, little things for them to get into so that they're protected. They will lay 2 eggs, and when the babies come, then they watch over them for, like I said, about 30 days, the babies, before they're brought out. They do eat fish, so they go swimming. They swim out into the ocean, and they eat fish, and they eat anchovies. They eat anything that they can find, which is difficult for them in some of the areas that they are now in, but they do sustain themselves. Their predators are things like sea lions, big sharks, anything that would be in the water that's bigger than them. Another fun thing is they have these little glands. They're pink. They're around their eyes, and the pinker they are, it would mean that the penguin is using that as its cooling system, so its air conditioning system. When the penguin gets hot, the blood flows up to that area and then is cooled by the air and then flows back through the system. These penguins, the African penguin, has some distinctive features. It has black feet. They're called a black-footed penguin. They also have spots on their chest, and the spots on their chest are like a fingerprint for human. Every penguin has a different series of spots, and so they're all different. They can be identified that way. They also have a nickname. They're called the jackass penguin, and the reason that they're called that is because they sound like a donkey. They make these really kind of sounds that sound like a donkey. It was just really fun to watch them waddle around and dive into the ocean and come back out and watch their babies. Really a fun place to visit. I would put this on one of your top 10 for Cape Town. We drove around the bottom part around the Cape and then up the other side, and there was the most beautiful place. It is a place where foreigners do buy houses. Very expensive place to own a home, but it is beautiful, surrounded by these rocky mountain edges and or cliff areas, and then you've got the ocean and the surf and the sand. We went down to the dock and watched the seals play. I think they were seals. I can't remember the difference between a sea lion and a seal, but anyway, they were having fun and they were performing for us just because I guess they have a good time doing it. But it was fun to watch that, and then that we could see all the little jellyfish just floating around in the water. I thought that wouldn't be a good place to hop in. But anywhere you are, you can enjoy things. It was so fun. Even though it was chilly and we were in our coats and our hats, it was still a marvelous place to go and experience and take pictures and watch all the different things that you can see in the world. Some of the driving areas were really crazy. One of the areas we went through, I wondered if the bus would make it through. It was carved out the side of the mountain, and it had little supports that kept the sides up. It had little supports that kept the side up, so it looked like you were going past windows all the way around. but it was carved out of the mountain, and you just drove around under these ledges. It was quite crazy, quite a twisty drive going up into that area.